Hi, everyone. Kim from Activ8 Posture. We recently got a question from a person inquiring, I'm active and I exercise regularly. Why does my back hurt?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I mean, the easy one for us from our perspective as doing postural therapy is to say like, yeah, because your posture is off. I think the car analogy is always a good one with that. So, if you're driving your car and wondering why your tires are wearing out, well, we got to look at the alignment, not just replace the tires. So if your back is hurting and you're moving, which, you're getting from point A to point B like you would with a car, and getting it done, but you're having a negative result, so the tire wearing out or blowing out eventually, then we've got to look at the alignment.
Yeah. And I mean, you can break that down. Alignment in posture equals form in exercise. If, your shoulders off, even if you like elevated, if you think you're practicing good form and you think you're getting your shoulders back and you go into a deadlift, but if your shoulders really elevated, you're already pulling too much on one of your erector muscles. So you're going to end up hurting your back instead of working your glutes. So there's all kinds of things like that where just one little area being off can make the wrong muscle fire, which can cause pain for an hour, hours, days after.
Yeah, and it's tough on like personal trainers, right? Because like they're trying to like say, okay, drop your shoulder. Okay, no, drop your hip, and no, move over there. And it's like, yeah, it's too late. So our posture should be subconscious routines. Like we should be in alignment because our body is using the right muscles and the right neuromuscular pathways and so forth to have our bodies aligned and ready to go. So that's one of the things we work with a lot of personal trainers to, in conjunction with them, so they can what we call beat up on their clients, push them to their maximum so they're not failing because of pain, or they're, they're you're in, to the people that are out there suffering from pain, when they are active and exercising, you're doing the right thing. The idea of getting 10,000 steps or the idea of going out and exercising, that's awesome. That's great. And you should be able to do that. And again, if you are suffering though, then we've got to just take that step back and set you up better. So let's do the things to remind your body of balance and make sure the right and left sides are doing the right thing, or that shoulder is not up in your ear and helping your hip, or doing some weird compensation patterns.
When I used to do a run club and lead a run club, one thing we would do was take videos of people as they were running. And people are always like, oh my gosh, I run like that? Or why am I only swinging just my right arm and my left arm is here? And it's like, well, obviously something is going on with your body that it's not in balance. So yeah, same thing. Like even if you are running and working out, are you overworking something? Is that why your back is tired? Is that why it's instead of your hips actually functioning, is the back doing the work? So that's why, coming in doing a session with us, at least you can figure out, all right, my back is compensating for something else in my body that might be underperforming during this sport, during this activity, during this exercise.
Yeah, even similar to what you mentioned about when you did the run club and people would look back at themselves running and be like, oh my gosh. I have noticed too, like especially my more active clients, the very first time we take their posture photos, because it's always kind of the same thing, I work out all the time, like why am I hurting? And of course we have the whole conversation about dysfunction, compensation, alignment, but then once they see those misalignments like right in their face, all of a sudden it's like, so is that what I'm doing when I'm lifting, or is that what I'm doing when I'm running? And it's like, yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we realign you.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, that's not normal function, but
Right.
that's what we tell people all the time. We have a design, and we have, like certain muscles are supposed to provide leverage or do certain tasks for us. So our world is more dysfunction. So we're dealing with musculoskeletal dysfunction where the body is not doing what it's supposed to do. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, let's remind it what it's supposed to do. And that makes our job very simple, and our approach very simple, in the sense that we're always reminding the body and restoring it to its proper function. And therefore we're not just trying to make it stronger or just stretch it out, or trying to beat up your body or say like, oh, your back is weak, so we're just going to keep pounding on your back. Well, the mechanism for your back injury could be one of many different things too. So let's say you're walking, if you have a tight hip or tight hips in general, well, you might be hyperextending your low back or causing, that might be your mechanism of injury or mechanism of pain. Whereas someone else who has weak loose hips, well, the back might be tightening up and then the back might be compensating. And so you might have muscles that are tighter and, spasming and so forth later because they're doing the job of other muscles that are shut down and not doing theirs. So that's where, again, so just to that point is like, we look at the dysfunctions underlying and then the compensations that are wrapped around that. And, as far as our approach then is really specific in that sense and individualized to what's going on with each person.
And it is a retraining. One of the watching their running videos actually reminds me how so many people on their first appointment, because we do functional tests with people, and we'll point out, oh, when you pick up your leg, your foot turns in and your knee goes out, which means your hip's stuck in external rotation. And so they just say, oh, okay, I'll just fix it. Well, that doesn't fix the problem. Just like really focusing on it doesn't make it go away. It's about retraining the muscles. And that's why we're doing these tests to see what is a compensation, what is a dysfunction. And then you really have to work, and it's repetitive. It's like 6 weeks of repeating is when you're going to start to really, really change the muscle fibers and the muscle memory. And so it's not simply about just like looking down and fixing that one thing that you see off.
Yeah.
Right. Not conscious effort. It's yeah. Like the thing I like to say is like we'll help align your body, but then activate the right muscles and then go play. Go do your thing. Don't worry about it. So like, if we think, of our ancestors and let's say you run across a saber-tooth tiger, then you don't have time to like, okay, hold my core. Okay. Make sure my left foot's turned in and then make sure that my shoulder's down and that my, head is back and so forth. Like, no, you're dead. You're eaten already. So to be able to just take off and run or do what you need to do because your body is ready. And that's what doing your exercise, doing your routines daily as we give them, like, or as often as you're possible, then the more you do it, the more your body is ready and in that ready state to do the things that you want to do and go play. So for me, like, it's mountain biking, snowboarding, hiking, carrying the kids, playing, tossing them up in the air, like doing all these fun things and not having to think about it or to go like, okay, hold on, I gotta like brace my core so I can, lift you. It's like, that's not fun.
I think it happens. I think a lot of clients, what they notice around like maybe 5 weeks, will just, like they have these things that they do, these little like tricks to help them carry their groceries up the stairs. And it might be like pulling your stomach in, putting your hands here, and then like, being really mindful of something. And then 5 weeks after coming to see us, they'll be like, I just walked up my stairs today. Like I just picked up my bags and walked up my stairs and didn't think. Actually, I just had a guy who he is an older gentleman, but he's strong and he lifts weights regularly. And he can go to the gym and he can lift really heavy weights and do deadlifts and all these like complex movements and have no back pain. Every time he carries his laundry upstairs or sweeps his floor, his back hurts pretty bad. And so he is a good example of somebody who is aware and was fixing things when he was working out. But then like he wasn't really fixing them. He wasn't really retraining his shoulders. He was just thinking about it when he was working out. So anytime he swept, of course, he's sweeping and he's forward and he's pulling on his back. And he called 2 days. We just had one session. He called 2. He's like, I swept my floor. I just swept my floor today. And it was amazing. And so it just makes life better when everything runs smoothly. And sometimes, even if you're not somebody that is in constant pain, like, man, you don't know what is missing until you really get yourself realigned and just everything firing at the right time. Then you really feel great all the time.
Kind of carrying on that, I have a client seeing me. She been seeing for almost 2 years now because of back pain and just was moving very gingerly, like would let me hold on to the wall, hold on to the chair, and then sit down very slowly. And then just kind of from this level 7 pain and slowly bringing it down. And I remember during Christmas, she started walking last year. I was like, you need to move. I was like, do your routine, walk. I was like, even if it's 5 minutes, walk. Let your body get used to this is how we're supposed to move in this new position. And during Christmas, she was doing her walk and she saw a really neat like decoration. And she like took her phone out and then she like squatted down on the floor and put one knee down and like took a picture of this thing and then stood up and then started walking. And then after 5 minutes, she was like, wait a minute, I just got down on the floor and like didn't think about it. No conscious effort. Her body had just gotten a much better position from when we first started working. And it was funny because next time she saw me, she like told me, she's like, I got on the floor. She was like, I didn't even know until 5 minutes later. And then she said, I had to look through my phone to make sure, did I really do that? Or did I dream that? She was like, I was in no pain. And it's funny because even when she's here in the clinic with me, she'll do something like she'll be like, oh, I saw this thing on YouTube and I tried doing it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, have you done it? She's like, yeah, I did it. And she showed me. And I was like, okay, you're in a very low lunge and you're like doing like a reach up and then you're reaching under. And in my head, I don't know if you know that this is kind of incredible what you're doing, where before she was just like, let me hold on to a chair and sit down. And when she stood up, I was like, I don't know if you know that, but that's amazing for your body and your back and what you were doing. I didn't want to say anything while you were doing it to not freak you out that this is actually a big deal. But yeah, it was all just, she just did it. Just not like Paul was saying, like, let me hold my core. Let me like make sure my quads are fired up. Let me do this. It's just hopefully with the correct exercises, training, activation, you can get your body, posture, skeletal system, muscles all working as optimal as possible, that it's all just unconscious effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good reminder. You're not broken. And you know, sometimes your body just needs a nudge in the right direction and to be reminded of how it's supposed to work and all the wonderful things it can do.
She was like, I was in no pain